How we doing, everybody? We're back in another best ball draft. Mike Randle here, FTN Network. A lot of discussion today. Travis Kelce, we're talking about Bijan Robinson, risk adverse, so much stuff going on right now. Had to jump in here and go live and do a best ball draft. We are waiting for the draft to take place. What do we get? We got position number 12. So we're going to be picking at the back end of round one here for Best Ball Mania, which gives me enough time to have some vino with you, of course, here. So here's the deal. Back of round one, this is looking like another perfect wide receiver start. You know who I like. Now, the question is Amon-Ra St. Brown going to be there? I continue to go back to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you got to come here to FTN. We dropped all our specials today. FTN Daily. You got the early bird special. We got Two Gun, who's won millions upon millions of dollars for a $7 million profit today in DFS. So you got to join us here at FTN. And we have articles that are targeting these specific questions. So the debate today was Travis Kelce round one, yes or no. As you can see, it's Jefferson, Chase, Hill, McCaffrey. It's all gone as it normally does. There goes Cooper Kupp. So the question is, where is Travis Kelce going to go? I'm hoping Amon-Ra St. Brown goes late. If Amon-Ra is gone, I'm going to be tempted here to go for a Nick Chubb or somebody like that, because I just think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the safest first-round picks that you can possibly have. Detroit, 33 points per game at home. You see CeeDee Lamb go. It's a little early for CeeDee Lamb. Wow, very early for CeeDee Lamb. You saw that. There goes Diggs. I want Amon-Ra St. Brown at the back of round one. I just don't know if pick 12 is a little too late. Normally, I get him with pick 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. Don't know what I want and what I'm going to get in this situation. There goes Kelce. And listen, if you're taking Travis Kelce, my argument is this. He must continue to be a heck of a lot better. Garrett Wilson, that is an early pick for Garrett Wilson. So he must be that much better than everyone else. That's my issue with Kelce. There goes Austin Eckler. We are now one pick away from getting Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's see here if Riverman or River Ram, whatever it is, if he stops us. Let's see. He takes Bijan Robinson. It's party time, folks. So this looks very clearly like a double tap here at wide receiver. Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, all available. I'm going to take Amon-Ra first. Let's get that out of the way. That's an easy pick. Now, here's the tough one. A.J. Brown in Philly, Devontae Adams with the Raiders. I don't like Devontae because of the quarterback situation. I'm not taking Chris Olave in round one. No chance. So the question is, do I go running back or do I go wide receiver? Nick Chubb is staring at me. I'm going to stick to the wide receivers. I haven't taken A.J. Brown. I think it's time for a piece of A.J. Brown, who was fantastic last year. There you go. So that's my debate. The only other player that I was considering here was Nick Chubb, because they don't have anyone of significance now that Kareem Hunt is gone. Yes, there are some players who can play in spots, but if Nick Chubb actually gets more receiving work, he can absolutely explode, because he's probably the best pure runner in football. And you know that he's going to be involved in an offense that our Dan Fournette here at FTN on his offensive line article talked as a top 4, top 5 offensive line. I assume Deshaun Watson can play better. He certainly can play any worse than last year. So I do like the Browns. But I went wide receiver, double tap there, because I don't have a lot of exposure to the Eagles. A.J. Brown was absolutely phenomenal last year. I like the Eagles' offense. I like their attack. I think he can have another big year. And I haven't had a lot of A.J. Brown. So I'm very comfortable with that start there with Amon-Ra St. Brown and A.J. Brown, the two Browns, back-to-back there, like that. So now where are we looking in round 3? Well, let's look and see how this is going with the chart. Perfect. So it's gone 3, 6, 8 wide receivers in round 1. And you have 1, 2, 3 running backs. Bijan was another consideration. I'm sort of warming to Bijan here. I was cold on Bijan earlier, but I do like Atlanta. I like Atlanta a lot in that division. The Saints are the betting favorite in that division. I don't buy it. If you look at projected win totals for your opponents, strength of schedule from last year, both the Saints and the Falcons are usually number 1 and number 2 in terms of easiest schedule. So I am starting to get high on the Falcons. I'm getting high on the Falcons. I really don't know why I wouldn't be high on Bijan Robinson. I don't like necessarily going there. But if Amon-Ra St. Brown had gone with Garrett Wilson, where Garrett Wilson had gone, and I didn't have an option to take Amon-Ra or CeeDee Lamb, I could have pivoted at the end of round 1 and taken Bijan and Nick Chubb and gone robust RB, which is why these drafts are so interesting, because what happens right before and after your pick can really make a huge difference on how your roster is constructed. I like the wide receiver early. I think there's a lot of value as we go down to the running back rounds. I like a lot of the rookie running backs. Tyler Lochner today here at FTN did an all young receiver, young running back youth draft that I actually like a lot. He double tapped Sky Moore and Rashee Rice with Kansas City, which I think is a great move also, because if I'm obviously not high on Kelsey, I have to be high on someone in that offense. So the way this worked out, Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown I like. I have a ton of exposure to Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is probably best ball draft number 50 for me here, best ball mania. And A.J. Brown getting a part of that Philly offense is good because I usually run out of places to get that. I don't usually have a ton available. Devonta Smith is usually not someone that I'm picking a lot of. So I usually end up focusing on a Dallas Goedert or somebody like that late. What this does is it gives me a little more flexibility. So let's see. There goes Mark Andrews. That's another one too, is sometimes I'm fortunate in that if I pick early in round 1, I will take a top wide receiver, Jefferson, Chase, Hill. And then if I pick at the back end of round 2, I'm very likely going either wide receiver, running back, and Mark Andrews. I think Mark Andrews is going to be the tight end 1. He was the tight end 1 2 years ago. Todd Monken now with Baltimore. A lot of opportunities with the Ravens. I think Andrews is going to have a big, big year. So I do go tight end sometimes at the beginning there of round 3 if I'm picking towards the back there of the round 2. Make sure you put the comments in if you got any comments. I'd love to interact, get some comments back and forth on what you like here. Ramondre Stevenson, the rumor out of New England is that Ty Montgomery is gaining a lot of steam in terms of being the breather back there for him in a third down scenario. They don't want to use Ramondre as much as they did in the second half of last year. So it doesn't look like his workload that we fell in love with the back half is necessarily going to continue, even though Damian Harris is in Buffalo. So who are we looking here? Here's a question. Scott with the question. Let's bring this up here. Thanks, Scott. Who's most likely to show regression, Burrow or Herbert? Scott, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be Herbert. Herbert with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore lives to pass with 20 seconds left in the Super Bowl on a slant to Ricardo Lockett instead of running the ball with Marshawn Lynch. The guy loves to throw. He was let go of Dallas because he throws so much. So now you have Herbert, who had big seasons, 38 touchdowns, and last year regressed a little bit. Now you have Keenan Allen. You have Mike Williams, who I don't like, but he's still a solid receiver, big play guy. And they have Quentin Johnston, who's Mike Williams on steroids, basically. He's faster. He's just as big. He can get downfield. I love this team. I love everything about the Chargers. And you know, Scott, that the Chargers have suffered from some injury issues. If the Chargers get normal injury luck, they could be very, very good in that division. You know that. Let's see what else we got here. Kevin, Herbert's going to have a huge year. Kevin, I've loved Herbert from the beginning. He was plus 2,000 in MVP, plus 1,800, plus 2,000. He's now down to plus 1,400, so you're getting some value there. Got him at plus 2,000. I love that. The question is, do I dive in to take Herbert? Because what you have to do if you're taking Herbert is you have to get him around 5 or 6. I like to wait on quarterbacks. I like the value here with Desmond Ridder. I like the value of Brock Purdy. Get to the end of drafts. People are ignoring them. I do like them, but I don't want to rely on them as my only quarterback. So grabbing Herbert in the early rounds is something that I do on occasion. Let's see what we got here. Here goes the run. And I'm now on the clock. That was fast. Holy cow. There goes Amari Cooper. So let's see where we're at here. Okay, wide receivers, Keenan Allen. So the question is, could I double tap Herbert and Allen and get there? What about the running backs? I do like Najee. I'm going to do something very unique here. We're going to take Najee Harris with his improved offensive line, took him. And I have to tell you guys, I have Amon-Ra. Man, try to name the second wide receiver in Detroit. It is very difficult. Keenan's there, but I can get Quentin Johnston later. I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I haven't done this often here. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs right there, and I'll tell you why. I'm big on Detroit. Yes, they have David Montgomery, but Gibbs is going to be featured. He's going to be, I think, what DeAndre Swift was supposed to be, but he wasn't. Think about it right now. Look at the Lions and look at who their second and third wide receivers are. And I love Marvin Jones, but you can get Marvin Jones in round 18. There's a lot of questions. Our Dan Kelly did a breakdown in his sleeper bust and bold prediction series about who he likes as well for the wide receiver position. I think until Jameson Williams comes back in week 7, Jahmyr Gibbs could be huge for this team. And if he gets into a flow, he's got high draft capital as a rookie. If he becomes an Alvin Kamara, if he becomes a Christian McCaffrey type player, even Najee Harris in his rookie season had 70 receptions, guys. That's a player now that I'm starting to warm to. I never take Jahmyr Gibbs early, and I usually don't take A.J. Brown. I'm trying a different style here because I just didn't like the wide receiver value there. You have Keenan Allen, but I think Quentin Johnston is just as valuable a couple rounds early. I'm not going to necessarily stack right now. There goes Burrow. Christian Watson is too early for me. A lot of uncertainty here, although Jordan Love is another quarterback you can get late who is a very, very solid situation as well. So I like this start. Amon-Ra to me is a top 5 receiver because he's going to have a massive target share as much as anyone will, as Stephon Diggs or anyone. A.J. Brown, of course, should be very solid with the Eagles as well. Najee Harris is a workhorse. There have been rumors out there lately, folks, that Jaylen Warren has been fantastic, and there's arguments that the offensive coordinator can't keep Jaylen Warren off the field. That's fine. I'm still banking with Mike Tomlin. I'm banking with the Steelers being predictable at the goal line. They're not running Kenny Pickett up the middle. I think Harris is going to get a huge, huge workload. Remember, he was injured for most of the year. Then from week 11 to the rest of the season, he was actually a top 3 fantasy running back last year. So that's why I love getting Najee there. Jahmyr Gibbs as well. Let's take a look. Couple more we got here. Scott back again. Or we'll likely see more Najee Harris year 1, year 2. Scott, I'll say this. Let's get it somewhere in between. Let's take, maybe not the 74 receptions. They get 73, 74 as a rookie. Give me 60 because Najee Harris is going to get the goal line work on that team. It's not going to be Jaylen Warren. Najee Harris can catch passes. So he is a profile as a 3-down back. And I think he can still catch passes and get the goal line work and be solid enough. Looking at the draft, would I rather have Najee Harris or Breece Hall? To me, it's not even close because Najee Harris is much more secure than Breece Hall. Everybody's jumping on Breece Hall because we have the small subset where he was dynamic, and I get it, but he's still the Jets. There's still more competition there. I'll take Najee and the value there at the back end of round 3. It's funny that Travis Etienne went right after Jahmyr Gibbs because I thought about Etienne. Etienne was not drafted by that team. He was not drafted by that by the coaching staff. But the question is, who is going to replace him? Who's going to come up after him? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's what you have to ask yourself. Is Etienne still going to get the workload, the majority workload? I think he can, even though the question is, how much is he going to get from the other Jacksonville players? Will Najee be a top 7 running back this year? I think it's a slam, Kevin. I really do. That's why I took him there. And Jahmyr Gibbs, who I took right after, if David Montgomery somehow gets hurt, Jahmyr Gibbs is through the roof. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is everything that DeAndre Swift was supposed to be, but he isn't. That is the question there. So let's see what we got. A lot of wide receivers here. Man, look at the wide receivers. How many we've taken? 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 30. We are through. So here's the point. We are midway through round 4, and we have lost the top 24 wide receivers. So we're in ADP area. We're in wide receiver 3, which is why I think double tapping wide receiver early is critical. But what's also happening here, folks, is you're pushing down the value also for running back. Let's see where we're going after this. I like the way this team, because I haven't had a lot of A.J. Brown. I really like the way this team is working out. This is going very well. Still on the clock, trying to go forward, see what we got here. They could go with Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville. That's my question. But if they go with Tank Bigsby, then because Etienne wasn't fantastic as a receiver last year. He did suffer as a receiver once in a while. Let's see. We're going through. We've come back around. I am back on the clock. There goes Herbert right before me. So let's check it out and see what we got here. Running backs. Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce. Is it tight end time? Kyle Pitts is there. I haven't been a big Kyle Pitts guy. Goddard is there also, who's the last one for me. Let's see. I will take Goddard. I get Goddard. Let's see. I will take Goddard. I got Goddard in there. Now let's see, because I like getting that tight end. Let's look at the quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, Watts. It's still too early for any of these. I'm probably going to wait on quarterback and try to stack up there with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's look at wide receiver. Boy, Lockett is such a value, huh? There's my Quentin Johnston pick. I'll take Tyler Lockett. And I like Lockett. Because Lockett is my third receiver. And folks, Tyler Lockett has just continued to perform every year and just continued to put out the incredible value every single time, and people just don't want to recognize it. So I took Tyler Lockett there. If you look back at take a look, folks, at Tyler Lockett when you get a chance and his stats. I'm going to pull him up right now. We used to say he was injury prone. Guys, he plays through injuries is what Tyler Lockett does. Tyler Lockett has gone 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons. His receptions, 82, 173, and 84. The question is, will Jackson Smith and Jigba, will he limit either DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett? People are saying it's Lockett. I don't think it's the case. I think they're playing 3 wide. Adam Pfeiffer and I talked about this when we did a best ball draft a couple weeks ago. I think it's Noah Fant. I think it's those empty targets that were going to tight ends. I think Tyler Lockett's going to eat. I think Tyler Lockett could have better coverage now in this situation. So I am fine taking a receiver here in Tyler Lockett, who ends up going in round 6, that produced for me over the last few years. Tyler Lockett has produced 82 or more receptions, had 107 or more targets, 4 years targets, 110, 132, 107, 117, and 1,000 or more yards in each of those. And by the way, Tyler Lockett, one of the best touchdown receivers in the NFL, 8, 10, 8, and 9. That ranks top 5 in the last 4 years in most receiving touchdowns, folks. In case you're doing the math at home, that's 35 touchdowns in 4 years. Give me health with Tyler Lockett, and I think we'll be all set. Let's check and see how it's going right now. Man, these wide receivers are flying off. And so much of it, I've seen running backs go early. The reason I wanted to get Lockett is because I think the running backs are getting pushed back. You see Alexander Madison go here. I like Alexander Madison a lot. Dobbins is a question mark whether he's going to continue to get, if he will be featured, which is fine if they don't want Lamar Jackson to run, and can he catch passes out of the backfield? Usually hasn't. There goes Kittle. If Kittle was there, I would have taken him over Goddard because I like getting that elite tight end to have the one in there. I love my build right now. What I have is 3 wide receivers, 2 solid running backs that both are versatile and catch passes, and the tight end. So if I'm looking to stack, Hurts is gone. Jared Goff is a stacking possibility, especially because I have Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Don't forget, they have a great matchup there with Dallas, indoors, points galore, slot machine late in the year, and Tyler Lockett, so I could grab Geno as well. Coming back around, Cam Akers is here, and I like Cam Akers, our CEO. Kevin Adams and I were arguing about Cam Akers because I got a lot of Cam Akers earlier in the year, and now I have not been taking him as much. They did get Sony Michel, but the question is Sony Michel going to be there? See, none of these players I'm interested in. George Pickens, I like. I just think there's a lot of targets go around. DeAndre Swift, no thank you. Gabe Davis. There goes Darren Waller. Darren Waller, I heard JJ Zacharyson talk about this with FanDuel. He's been getting more Darren Waller lately because he's in that sort of middle round area where you get nervous, but he is by far and away the number 1 receiving option in that Giants offense. So I think he is definitely worth a look. So we're coming up here in a couple picks. Let's see who we're looking at. Quentin Johnston's still there. He'll probably go. If he doesn't go, I will take him. He is still available, which is fantastic. Just went, of course, because that's what happens. Thank you very much. Let's see who's up now on the clock. Coming through. Yep, he just went. There goes Pacheco, and I am up next. I could secure the Detroit. Who just went? Deshaun Watson. Great. So let's look at we got Tua, Cousins, Jones. There's Geno. I'm still going to wait on quarterback. I'm going to end up waiting on quarterback, which I think is fine. Running back, boy, Dave Montgomery. Get a lot of Lions there with David Montgomery. And the wide receivers, Bateman, Flower. I don't like any of those guys. Let's get Monty. He's dealing with a minor injury. That's fine. So we have a solid hold on the Lions backfield. Now, what that means is I don't have to draft. I should not be drafting a lot of running backs if we're going to take both Detroit running backs. I just think they both can get off to a fantastic start earlier in the season. Tua, Prescott, Cousins, none of those because I want to stack. Wide receivers, Elijah Moore, Bateman, Jamison Williams, no, too early for him. Tight end. Yeah, let's double tap tight end and get my guy Njoku. There's Njoku. Okay, so we have 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a tight end. I love the way this team is turning out here. We have the 2. So what you have to realize, too, when you're doing your roster construction for best ball drafts, the decisions that you make then change what you're going to do in the future. So I took Gibbs and Montgomery, which means I am all in on this Lions backfield, which I think you can do because there are teams that have both running backs that can actually perform, especially when you have one who's a superior receiving back, like I think Gibbs is going to be used. Early in the year, I don't think there's a lot of options. Sam Laporte is their tight end, but tight ends, Patrick Doherty put this out for NBC. Tight ends getting 50 receptions are just very rare over the last 20 years. So I don't think you can bank on Sam Laporta having a massive contribution. So I don't mind getting Gibbs and Montgomery. I haven't done it, but I like it. And obviously I'm all in with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm going to target Jared Goff here when we come back around. A.J. Brown knows for the end zone. Lockett knows for the end zone. My tight ends are set with Goddard and Njoku, who can both be legitimate top 3 or better targets in those offenses. So that's fine. So coming back around, I'm looking at quarterback. Definitely want to do that. And I'd like to get another wide receiver. That's my focus. Now, one of the moves I did, which Tyler Lochner did earlier today, is I love to grab Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. If I'm down, remember, it's like when you bet your props in the NFL, you should tether your props to how the NFL games are going to go. If you like an underdog, let's say, or a team to upset someone, then you should bet some of the props over for that team. So I like to tether that. If I'm low on Travis Kelce, I'm not low on the Chiefs offense in general with Patrick Mahomes. So I should also try to maybe pick up some of the other pieces. If you like Pacheco, that's fine. Like Jerick McKinnon, something like that. I like Sky Moore and Rashee Rice because I think they both can be decent. And one of them I think will be very, very good. Questions. We got some more questions here. Kevin's got one. If Saquon signs with the Giants, do you think he will still get the same workload as last year, even with the improvement of Jones and better targets? If they're signing him, Kevin, they're going to use him because you have with the Giants a ton of receivers that are basically slot receivers. And Jalen Hyatt, who is the new guy that they got this year, 3rd round drafted from Tennessee, Biletnikoff winner, I heard is running with the 3rd team offense. So he struggled to pick up the offense early, and Jalen Hyatt is now running with the 3rd team offense. So if you like the Giants, you like Waller, I think you have to like Saquon. That's a good question there. I do think he will be a huge part of this team as well. Let's go here. We're now into round 9. There goes Jameson. There goes Javonte. I have no interest in Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams is going to be slow to come back. You saw J.K. Dobbins come back from injury last year. He was not fantastic. There goes Kamara. I have no interest because I don't know what's going to happen to Kamara. No interest in him at all. Odell's going to Gun, who's one of our incredible DFS players who, of course, writes and gives you great insight every week here, part of our DFS package. Again, get the early bird special. You can see it on the site as well. Loves Odell Beckham. He has a lot of exposure to Odell Beckham. There's a lot of rumors that Rashad Bateman may have some injury issues. Well, if that's the case and you like this offense and Todd Monken is going to have them throw, there goes Geno. So I'm going to have to go here with Jared Goff. Make sure I get a stack. Odell Beckham could have a big season. I don't like Odell. A lot of people are down on Odell, but if Rashad Bateman's not ready to go, there's just not a lot of options there besides Andrews and Zay Flowers. So I think Odell could actually have a sneaky good year, and he's available here, as you see in round 8. There goes Evan Ingram. That's why I took David Njoku, because I knew that I would be back towards the back here, the tight ends. The other tight end I like is Okongwu from Tennessee, because I think at the end of last year, he really improved, and they got rid of all competition. Austin Hooper gone. So there's no one really in Tennessee. He's going to be the clear starting tight end. The problem is I didn't see other value at wide receiver in round 8, which is why I ended up taking Njoku, because I just didn't see the value at wide receiver to pass there at that time. And I thought it was a little early for Geno as well. Okay, Charbonnet goes, it's fine. I tend to think Kenneth Walker is going to get the majority of touches there. I'm not huge on Charbonnet also. A.J. Dillon could have a nice bounce back year. Could absolutely do that. I know he didn't catch a lot of passes, but A.J. Dillon last year really let us down. And I had a lot of exposure to him, but he could be very, very good. Sort of a post-hype sleeper for A.J. Dillon here and the Packers. There goes Prescott. So let's see where we're at here as we're coming to our pick. Yep. So, yeah, one of them is going to be Goff. I definitely want to take Goff here, and we should be fine because there's a couple quarterbacks ahead of him. Running backs. Robinson, Harris. Harris is a guy I haven't taken a lot of either, but he's interesting. And then wide receiver. Yeah, Sky Moore. There's Rashee Rice. Mingo has been really good. Yeah, so I think the move here is to go quarterback to at least secure one quarterback and get a wide receiver and pass on the running backs because we double tapped on Detroit and we have Najee, who is a workhorse. So there goes Gibson. The question is, what receiver? Do I go with Sky again? Zay Jones is there. Mooney, Dub, Rashee Rice. I could probably let Rice go. Sky Moore won't be there on the comeback. I could get lucky with Rashee Rice because there's a lot of other players. There goes Juju. I'm on the clock. I like the Kansas City offense, and I'm low on Kelsey, so I'll take Sky Moore. And, yep, I need a quarterback, so we'll take Jared Goff. And there we go. So we have Goff. We have a nice stack with Goff and Amon-Ra. We also got Gibbs and Montgomery, so plenty of Lions exposure, which I'm fine with. We got Lockett, missed out on Geno, no problem. Sky Moore, who I think could be a solid part of that offense. I'll hope to get Rashee Rice if he's available coming back. Probably won't be, but it's worth a shot. And A.J. Brown. And we got heavy exposure with Dallas, Goddard, 2 Phillies, and Cleveland. And now you see, this is usually the area the tight ends start flying, round 9, round 10. There goes Freiermuth. I like Pat Freiermuth. He's been great for the Steelers. The question is, how many targets is he going to get? And is his ceiling, you're Deontay Johnson, who's pretty much locked in for 100 targets and had 0 touchdowns. And if Deontay Johnson follows the way that last year Miles Sanders did, he could have positive touchdown regression and have a big year. If that's the case, then Freiermuth is not going to have the upside. Daniel Jones goes there as well. Here goes Rashad Penny. Good luck figuring out who the Philly lead running back is. If it's Rashad Penny, he could be in a big, big year. So here, you get these running backs like Samaje Perine, who I like substantially better than Penny or Robinson, because if Javonte Williams is not ready to go and they don't sign anyone, I mean, there's a lot of running backs out there. There's Kareem Hunt. You heard Melvin Gordon get all upset the other day. Luckily, we had Leonard Fournette, who had a terrible car accident, somehow escaped without serious injury. The car caught on fire. So there's a lot of running backs available. I like P. Ryan. The question is, are they going to bring somebody else in? They could, which would limit his value. But P. Ryan is a versatile running back. And if Javonte Williams is delayed, that's incredible value for the lead running back in a Sean Payton offense in round 10. Nice home field advantage, etc. Khalil Herbert, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Harris. Damian Harris of Buffalo is very interesting what Buffalo's doing. Buffalo is copying what Kansas City did. Buffalo, you saw Kansas City get Isaiah Pacheco. You saw Kansas City go to more 2 tight end sets to protect Patrick Mahomes. You saw them use their wide receivers to a certain extent, but not have that high upside, which is why I think Stephon Diggs is a little frustrated. One, he thought they were going to add DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't know if the Bills are going to add DeAndre Hopkins. And I think that smash mouth back of Damian Harris could be very similar to Pacheco last year in this offense, which is absolutely fantastic. There goes Aaron Rodgers, Zay Jones, Darnell Mooney, McKinnon. Yep. There goes Jamal Williams for the Saints. I'm not high on the Saints. So this worked out perfectly. Could I get Rashee Rice? I would love to have Rashee Rice. Double tap with him and Sky Moore and get them both. Let's see. Let's start planning and see where we are here. Devon Achane with Miami. Again, they like him a lot. Head coach likes him a lot. Let's see. Yeah, could be right. There goes Rondale Moore. No interest in him because I'm very low in Arizona. This worked out fantastic. I don't think Okongwu's still there. I like Okongwu. That's a frisky one. Quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Stafford, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young. Ritter's down there. Boy, Russell Wilson's a pretty good value, guys. I don't have a lot of Broncos, but Russell Wilson is a good value. And I don't think Jay Peasy's taking a third quarterback right now. So it could be Moses or could be Moses could take him here, which I get. I'm not taking Derek Carr. No interest in Derek Carr, especially with new offensive coordinator. It's not been good history with him. He took Achane. This is it. Is Russ going to get to me? I mean, talk about Russell Wilson in round 11. And then I'll take Rashee Rice. Rummy Ram. Perfect. Wow. Shocking. So give me Russ and give me Rashee Rice. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jalen Warren is there. I just really like Rashee Rice. Tank Bigsby is there. Jalen Warren. That'd be an interesting build, huh? Let me try that. Let me try Jalen Warren. There you go. So what I'm doing here in this situation with Harris and Warren and Gibbs and Montgomery is I'm locking up two backfields that I think have a lot of usage, that can get a lot of fantasy points, and they're not necessarily handcuffs. I think if you took like a Ty Chandler here, who appears to be the first backup, depending on if McBride gets healthy, to Alexander Madison in Minnesota, I think that's a mistake. But I think Jaylen Warren has standalone value. I know Jahmyr Gibbs has standalone value. So I'm fine with this. But what this means, and you always have to play this out, like I said, I can't spend more picks on running backs right now. I've got to focus on the wide receivers because I've put so much into having these two backfields. I'm almost betting against myself if I continue to grab running backs here. But I like this team. Goff and Wilson, two solid quarterbacks. I don't even think I need a third. Harris and Warren, Gibbs and Montgomery, two solid backfields. We got Amara, A.J. Brown, Lockett, and more. So I'm a little weak at wide receiver. Love my tight ends, Goddard and Njoku. So what I am looking to do now is pad these wide receivers and get some big play wide receivers, guys who can break down the middle of the field, who can really impact the game late. Rashee Rice, Mingo just went, Carolina, who I do like a lot. I think he could be the number one wide receiver there because I think Adam Thielen's skills are regressing. So, yeah, the focus here is on wide receiver. It is not on running back anymore. Let's go to our picks. We're in round 12. See, these are the play. This is my point. Like Tank Bigsby was a consideration at Jacksonville because Tank Bigsby, they're going to draft him. I think they took him in the third round. He could absolutely play a part here. There goes Okongwu. Okongwu in round 12 is a great tight end value. He's much better than Dalton Schultz in Houston. I like Okongwu a lot. I think that's great value. So if I chose to pass on Njoku, which if I did that, who would I have taken? See, that's the question is who would I have taken? I just don't know who I would have taken there instead. I guess I could have taken Geno if I wanted to do that and get the stack, but I'm very happy with Russ. I think Russ can be solid on his own. There goes Rashee Rice. That's fine. I knew I probably lost him, but it could be Sky Moore. He could take a step forward. Rashee Rice could contribute. I think there's other players that I can make up the Rashee Rice pick, but the value I got with Jaylen Warren, who I think has standalone value, who I think could be an integral part of an offense that's going to be run heavy because they're not going to want Kenny Pickett to make a lot of turnovers. The offensive line is improved. I think that was a better move than taking Rashee Rice. Flying through here. That's the question. So we're in round 12, quickly moving across here. There goes Jordan Love. See, I didn't want to get into a situation where I was relying as my second quarterback on a Jordan Love, on a Desmond Ridder. I didn't want to do that. There goes MBS, who's another option, Rashee Rice if he was available. So that's why I took by taking Wilson, I'm locking myself into two quarterbacks, and I'm pushing a third quarterback, if I choose to get one, to around 16, 17, or 18. By taking Jaylen Warren, what does that mean? It means I believe in my running back stack. I believe in the four running backs that I have. I believe in the Pittsburgh and the Detroit running game, and I think I will get solid production from them. My option here now is not to spend something early on running back. I'm probably picking up one of those free agent veteran running backs, your Kareem Hunts, Ezekiel Elliott, those type of players, and hoping that maybe if somebody gets hurt, one of them can jump in. So this is wide receiver for me. It's an absolute wide receiver focus right now. I do like Desmond Ridder. Brock Purdy is a third quarterback, but I think I have to take care of my wide receiver depth because that's the concern that I don't have enough of right now. Only 4 wide receivers here as we're in round 13. So let's see who we're looking at. Jaden Reed for Green Bay is an absolutely good focus for me. Sheehy could be very good for New Orleans as well. There's Hyatt, who's dropping a little bit. I think I like Wan'Dale Robinson better than him. Darius Slayton is a player I really like. As much as people laugh, there aren't a lot of X receivers with the Giants. So as much as Darius Slayton, people dismiss him, I think his big playability, I think he's going to be an integral part of this. If Jalen Hyatt is not ready to go and he is really running with the threes and ends up being on the second unit, then Darius Slayton's going to be starting with Daniel Jones, who can take shots deep. Not a bad pick right now. There goes Irv Smith, Tyler Algier. Don't want any of these players. Devin Singletary, no. I think Dameon Pierce is going to have a majority workload there, at least 60, 65% opportunity share. Tyler Higbee, no chance. So no interest in these players. So happy with who I selected. There goes KJ Osborne, who I think could be a part of this Minnesota offense also. He's not terrible either. Tight ends, no interest in any of those. Running backs, we're passing on this. Jerome Ford, he's the option if you have Chubb and you want to take a player late, that's fine. Quarterback, Stafford, no. Pickett, no. No, we're going wide receiver here. There goes Osborne. That would have been my pick. Okay, first time I was sniped. Tyquan Thornton. Are they going to sign Hopkins? I'm not sure. DJ Chark in Carolina. Sheehy. I don't care about the ADP. I care about the players I want. I want Darius Slayton. So I'm going to take him. Big play receiver. And then who else we have? Tim Patrick in Denver. Tim Patrick's a solid receiver for them. There's Wan'Dale Robinson with the Giants. Paris Campbell with the Giants. I just think those are all slot receivers. I think Slayton has the advantage on the outside. I'm going to take Jaden Reed. Funny how Green Bay takes a receiver early when Aaron Rodgers leaves. So there we go. We've turned our build around now. What do we have? Let's see. We have 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers. I like it. 2 tight ends. Fantastic. And we're in round 14 now. So we're looking 15, 4 picks left. So there we are. And the picks are flying off the board. Any questions? Make sure to add them as well. Let's see. There we go. So where is my pick regret? If I had to have pick regret, I guess the question is the Njoku pick in round 8, the double second tight end when I had Goddard. That's the question. So we ended up going forward, and then we got Njoku at 85. Who came after that? Dalvin Cook, who I'm not interested in. Michael Thomas appears to be healthy. Odell Beckham was a pick I could have made. So I could have went with Odell with Baltimore. Two Gun is be in my ear right now telling me that's the pick I should have made. I could have taken Geno. So yeah, I guess if I could do it over again, I would have maybe gone Beckham instead of Njoku there and then tried to grab Okongwu, who is available in round 12. That's probably my one mistake if I had one. So 4 picks left. We're almost at the end of 14. I just think the upside on players like this is capped. Sam Laporta would have to have a legendary year at tight end in comparison to other rookies if he's going to pay off and someone I want to target. I know it's round 14, but I just think there's other values there. There goes Stafford. He went to pick 164 to fantasy flock. Taysom Hill, you don't know what his role is going to be with Derek Carr, so I think that's early for him. Jerome Ford is fine. Collins took Jerome Ford here. He took Nick Chubb, so I like that pick. If you're going to take Chubb, you want to take a late pick with Ford, that's fine because Ford could be a major, major value. Here goes Zeke Elliott. So I'm looking for running backs now that could sign later. Ty Chandler. Remember, I don't believe in necessarily taking handcuffs. I like taking other people's handcuffs. So Ty Chandler, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, those type of players. Zamir White could absolutely be good as well. There's McBride. So that's where I'm looking here in this round. It's coming fairly quickly, which is nice. Other wide receivers that are out there. Hyatt is still there. Wan'Dale Robinson. No one took Patrick. There's Woods, Terrence Marshall. Marvin Jones. My guy Marvin Jones. I could take him. Love Marvin Jones. Been arguing with Kevin Adams over FTN about Marvin Jones. I think Marvin Jones could be solid. I think where he's going right now, he's being drafted as what? Wide receiver 50, wide receiver 60. I think he could easily return value. I think 800 yards is very reasonable for Marvin Jones, despite the advanced age. Jacksonville, he struggled last year. I get that, but that's why you're getting the ADP value. Let's see here. JPZ. Brock Purdy went. It's a great last pick here for Brock Purdy. Hyatt went. They might take a... Man, people do not like Desmond Ridder. Wow. Desmond Ridder could be a starter for an Atlanta team that could win the NFC South, and no one wants to take him. I get it there, run-first offense, but Desmond Ridder has some wheels. He could absolutely get some value, so we like rushing quarterbacks, but Desmond Ridder is going QB 29 at this point, even later. Wow. I just think that value is incredible. I'm not in on Trey Lance. If Brock Purdy's not ready week 1 in Pittsburgh, it's going to be Sam Darnold, folks. You may not be thrilled with that, but it's going to be. They like Sam Darnold. There goes Wilson, Mostert. There goes Samuel. And Edwards is there. Pierre Strong. Wide receiver. take Tim Patrick. Coming off the injury, but has already shown hanging out with Russell Wilson, and he catches a lot of touchdowns. So there's my 7th wide receiver. And now for running back, let's take Ty Chandler, who could see a huge increased role. And are we sure that Alexander Madison is going to be the automatic bell cow there? Is he ready for that? Because if he's not, Ty Chandler's got 4.35 wheels, could blow a big play there anytime, which is what we're looking for here, the upside late with Ty Chandler. So 2 picks left on the comeback. Hodgins goes. These are just limited upside players at this point. That's why I don't want that. Purdy went. I mean, are they going to give me are they going to leave me Desmond Ridder in round 17? Could that be possible? I mean, there's just so many quarterbacks here too. OMG only has 1, so he or she is going to need one as well. So only 2 picks left here, and then we are done, folks. If you have any comments, make sure to put them in the comments section as well. Like this team and like our build. Usually wants at least 7 wide receivers. Only the 5 running backs. Sometimes I come out with 6, but these are solid. Don't have the 3rd quarterback. Don't think I need it either with Russell Wilson and Jared Goff. There goes Bryce Young. Yeah, people do not want Ridder. They just don't like Desmond Ridder. Gus Edwards is fine, just doesn't catch passes, so it's tough. Kenny Pickett goes in this round as well. There's an argument to be made to wait on quarterback. And some of the teams I've drafted, I just wait till the end and try to grab Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett, CJ Stroud, Desmond Ridder, and hope the 2 of the 4 work out. But you can load up your team. You can load up running backs, load up wide receivers, and tight ends early, and then just wait on the quarterback and play and hope that 2 of the 4 work out. But you have to commit to 4 quarterbacks then, because you can't have just Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett as your quarterbacks. That's too fragile to build for me. Paris Campbell, Khalil Shakur. Khalil Shakur took over Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie now in with the Colts. Khalil Shakur trying to play that slot role, super fast player. There goes Fournette. I understand that pick as well. Could plug in. I mean, Fournette may never get picked up because he can be out of shape. I mean, that's Lenny's thing. He's playoff Lenny because he's out of shape a lot of times. So that's what made me lean towards Ty Chandler, who I think has an opportunity here to really prove and get himself a contract if Alexander Madison struggles or doesn't perform. Coming back around, we are now in round 17. Thank you for staying with me here. Round 17. Lenny went. There goes Renfro. Got 2 rounds left. If you're in the chat, let me know who you think I should pick with the last 2 rounds. Our build is 2-5-7-2. Would love a 3rd tight end at this point. That's the question. Would love that 3rd tight end. Just don't know if that's going to be possible. There goes Gesicki. Again, tight end, Terrace Marshall. Like Terrace Marshall. I'm a truther for Terrace Marshall. Just hasn't worked out. And I do think Mingo takes a step up. I think Thielen also is going to be a huge target in the red zone. Just can't get there for Terrace Marshall for me. He's got to have an injury. Wan'Dale Robinson, slot extraordinaire with the Giants. If Ridder is left, I will take Ridder as the 3rd quarterback because I think it really solidifies my quarterback play. And I think that's a much better value than taking an 8th wide receiver or 3rd tight end at this point. My favorite tight end pick late is Isaiah Likely because if anything happens to Mark Andrews, he's going to explode. And if Rashad Bateman is not healthy, and again, Odell Beckham is very fragile, Isaiah Likely in a round 17, round 18 pick could be absolutely fantastic. And there he goes, of course. Of course, Mr. Collins takes him for me. That was probably going to be my focus here. We are 4 picks away, and then we are done, folks. Likely. Let's see. Coming around on the clock. Conklin, McBride. No, I just don't like any of these tight ends. Cade Otton, somebody I've taken late as well. Desmond Ridder's going to be there. So Ridder's going to be one of my picks. And the only question is, do I want to go with a 3rd tight end or a 6th running back? Or I could take a wide receiver. Claypool and then Marvin Jones. That's the answer because I have Goff, so I'm already stacking. That's fine. Marvin Jones. That's the answer. The answer will be Marvin Jones and Desmond Ridder if we get here. We are 2 picks away, folks. Conklin goes, Hurst goes. I'll just take my chances with the 2 tight ends. Goddard and Njoku, both 2 solid, high target tight ends. Mac Jones goes. That's the answer. It's Marvin Jones and it's Desmond Ridder. Those are going to be my picks. And there it is. So we'll take Marvin Jones, just so Kevin Adams can get mad I didn't take him in round 18. And we'll take Desmond Ridder as our 3rd quarterback. And there it is. So, folks, before we wrap up here, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, Desmond Ridder. I think that is solid quarterback play. There's depth, good offensive lines, and I have the stack, which I want. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren from Pittsburgh, Gibbs and Montgomery from Detroit, and then the 1 home run in Ty Chandler, which is sort of my upside play if Madison does get hurt in an offense that he can explode on, especially indoors. Amon-Ra and Marvin Jones from Detroit, Patrick to stack with Russell Wilson, Jaden Reed, the dynamic rookie, Slayton, who could have a big game, big season as the X receiver there for a Giants. For a team doesn't have a lot of X receivers if Jalen Hyatt doesn't pan out. A.J. Brown, Lockett, Sky Moore. Little delicate with Goddard and Njoku, but 2 high-value tight ends there. Absolutely. And that's it, folks. Thank you for joining us. We love joining you on Tuesday. Here's the team. Give us a like, subscribe. FTN Daily. Got the early bird special. You have to take a look at it. Only way to be here, folks. FTN Fantasy. We have you covered across the board. It's going to be a big year.